Okay. A little later than planned, but the day that I had hoped I was gonna go yesterday, but I was just a little busy. And I figured, like, I think I might do this the early Sundays instead of Saturdays, but maybe just do it a little earlier. That way I can include Shonen Jump into it. I don't know why I pick Saturday when it's like the chapters come out next day, because like I feel like by the time it gets to my next stream, usually like all that stuff is already talked about. But yeah, like this was we're in a really weird spot actually with Shonen Jump. I feel like with Shonen Jump, because of like their axe crazy tendencies. What's up, bud? That they really put themselves in a spot with like all these different series that are closing to an end. And I know like because you have like My Hero's in final arc, Black Clover's in a final arc, Mashle I'm not sure, but like it's like there could be more. But as far as we know, this is the final arc. Maybe it'll just be like, like 50, 100 chapters or something. It'll just be one of those like the final arc is just longer. And then what else is like nearing the end? I can obviously like most of the other stuff is what new stuff. I don't think anything else is even remotely close to like the high numbers. Like Undead Unluck is definitely near like that kind of more ending point. Mission Yozakura Family is further towards that ending point. And like I know people will like be like there's like however many years left. One Piece is still near that ending point. And obviously like One Piece's like ending point is going to take a little longer than a lot of these other ones, but it's like it's still in sight. And if Black Clover, My Hero, Undead Unluck, Mission Yozakura Family, Mashle, all these like series, like those, only some of the handful that survived the axe are the ones that are going to be around. Or rather, those ones aren't going to be around. Rather, but you're only going to have what? Like, think about this: if all those ended, like within the next, let's say 4 years. Let's say 4 years. So we're obviously like there'll be at least one or two more. Also, yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen's also in its final arc. But I would say but assume that like another series or two within that span of time ends up surviving the axe, gets to that like 50s to 100 chapter, 150 chapter area, whatever. That's all they're gonna have. Like, it's weird. Like, if I was in charge of Shonen Jump, this is my opinion, I would have absolutely had a couple of series just exist to have, like, to kind of, like, let that fan base build up like, kind of, like, more quietly, organically, and then maybe just, like, I don't know, give it a really fire anime, and then just let let it kind of run its course. I mean, for the most part, like, Demon Slayer is an interesting series, but, I mean, like, it's nothing too crazy. The animation just made its popularity just skyrocket. And, like, if you did that to another series that's enjoyable but not crazy, nothing crazy. Like, so far, Doron is enjoyable. I like the beginning more than I like the beginning of Demon Slayer. But, like, it'd be the same thing. You put a good animation on that, I bet it'd be fantastic. Especially, like, some more fighting styles and whatnot. You might be able to do a little bit more, I think, with it based off the monsters and whatnot. Yeah, I'm going to miss Black Clover, too. We're at the end of an era. I mean, for Shonen Jump, like Shonen Magazine, like they got Eden Zero. I mean, as far as Mishima can, he could easily do a next gen for Fairy Tail after 100 Years Quest. You have what? I mean, Okubo, like Fire Force ended. I feel like when he said that's his last manga, that's kind of like iffy. Like it'd be weird to me if he doesn't have. He's not at least contemplating something else. Like maybe not as long, but like a short series. I don't know. Maybe at some point he'll just decide to come back too. And then what? We have what's that one? Orient, because that's like at like 100 and something plus. I don't know how like well it does in Japan though. I have no idea of its large scale sales and what. I prefer Aishimon, however it's spelled. I like it. I like Doron better because I just like the art style. I like the setting, and I like the characters a lot more. I think they're both pretty cool, though. I like them. I think that they've been really refreshing. That it seems like it... Like, Ayoshimon seems like it'll be okay. Because I'm pretty sure it got reprints. I'm pretty sure it's alright. And then, Doron, like, that's kind of in that iffy area for me. But, like, as of right now, it doesn't look like it's nearing that edging point. So maybe it'll survive. There's that one series is like dead last in rank. What is it? Protect Me Shuguro or whatever, that like gag series. But it is a gag series, so maybe it'll survive. I'll just be sad if Doron gets axed. Cause like that'll just be another like I've had only so many things left right now in Shonen Jump that I read, and like I've I've tried out some other stuff. Like, you know, I've tried like, well, in Shonen, like I tried like Sakamoto Days. Like it's alright. Like it's not my huge thing. It's like I can read it, but it's not something I'm gonna really like get hyped and look forward to as much. Versus like Mashle. I've actually really come to like Mashle. My only issues with Mashle is the pacing and the power escalation is too much. It just moves too fast. Like all the stuff in Mashle right now within the first 100+ chapters, it could easily be 300+. Easily. Like I have absolutely 100% faith in the idea of like if the dude who I guess I don't know his name. The dude does Mashle. Like if he actually decided that he wanted to stretch it out, he could have. But I think right now it's a little too hard. You'd have to like set it in the same universe, but pick different characters. Just because like Mash is just so like he's just so strong, obviously in comparison. But obviously like he's been that for the most part that way since the start. It's kind of like a Meliodas thing where we're just seeing him slowly like actually use his powers and like his full strength that he had, and he's just limiting himself a lot. But like outside of that, like it's. I don't know, like I said, it just feels like it's going too fast. I know Bud understands. I would have really liked... If Mashle was even, like, twice as long, I'd be happy. I think that'd be fantastic. Let me post up some... let me post up the stream. I'll just do the normal hashtag. I'll just do Fairy Tail Black Clover. Let me see. Black Clover... One thing I did want to talk about that clock theory everyone's going around with. I'll just do 8 and 0, whatever. In 0, I'll do 4 nights. Oh, there's not like an ongoing hashtag for it. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, let's see. All right, yeah, that the clock theory. So like, I understand like I understand the idea of like how it was doing a little bit of kind of like hinting foreshadowing. I do not like the idea of like there was a time reversal thing. Like if there's one, like because like the big issue I have with it is one, if Lucius can just, or is it Lucius or Lucius? I don't know. I think it's Lucius, right? Because this was supposed to be yeah, because I feel like it's just supposed to be like Lucius, kind of like how you have, Julius. It's not. What would be the equivalent? I guess it would be Juicius. I guess no, I can understand why nobody's gonna want to call him that, but I don't know. But like my problem with it is, if he can casually reverse time, I don't see how they beat him. Because like even anti-magic, like he has to get the anti-magic on contact, and I'll just say Lucius because I'm pretty sure it is Lucius. Correct me if I'm wrong if it's Lucius, but pretty sure it's Lucius. If Lucius ends up just casually reversing time, like wouldn't he be able just to like reverse time to before the point where Asta, like before he even knew that there was a fight, and then kill him when he's not paying attention? There would have to be a lot of ways to balance it, because like that's just a power that's so beyond anything that we have. I just worry that the characters would get in a spot that it's just like there's no logical way out of it, and we would end up something kind of like Madara or Yuhabak, where Tabata would have to invent something like near then to defeat him. Like I never understood that. Like I don't know if it's just me. It's probably obviously the weekly schedule. I feel like that's the easiest thing. But I feel like for me, like the easiest solution would be like whenever you put in a new bad guy, just keep in mind like how you're gonna beat him. Don't just put him in there and like let him run loose. Just because I mean that's just how you run into a rough situation. I guess literally like Yuhabak, invent the still silver arrow 5 seconds before the end. I can't see any current series getting over 300. What else is there? I mean like if Doron survives, I could see something like that. Just because like it doesn't seem too crazy, at least as of right now. Like, it could easily just kind of, like, sit where it's at for, like, 50, 60 chapters, start climbing the power levels, start introducing, like, the crazier yokai. It just depends. It's one of those things. Whereas, like, what else is there? Because, like, Undead Unluck can't go for another 200 chapters. Mashle can't go for another 200 chapters. Mission Yozakor family, I feel like it couldn't go for another 200. Like, we're too close to, like, bigger stuff. I could see another 100. I couldn't see 200. I feel like 200 is too much. People struggle with multiple manga hero out here with 3 long bangers. Yeah, Machine Goat. Doran female designs don't hit for me. I like the new one. Did you read the new chapter, Bud? Or not Bud. Jason? The girl in the first couple chapters, she was in, like, you know, I don't really see her that interesting. The new girl I like. The Berserker Stalker chick. I think she's cool and I like her design. I feel like the thing Eden Zero's I feel like this is Eden Zero's final arc. Everyone's showing up one. I think it's gonna be the next one. At least from what I can understand from what Mishima's put out there. This is gonna be like the Ziggy arc. But like I think the thing that people are, I think it was the Zeref and Lucia comparison, because like it's a little weird because like I get Lucia because like Lucia was the final villain, whereas like Zeref wasn't the final villain, and it seems like Ziggy's not going to be the final villain. It seems more like Ziggy's just going to be more of like a big plot point, and then the ending will have more to do with Mother and the Chronophage. The only thing I would be curious about is like who would become the big villain, like who would become the big villain other than Ziggy. I don't know, like maybe, I feel like you'd have to kind of just create something like. Maybe like one of the Heavenly Knights of the Dancing Sakura. Maybe whoever invented Ziggy. I think that'd be cool. There's still obviously the question of why Ziggy is a face inside his helmet. Is he a robot? Is he a cyborg? Obviously, he can't be like a man in the suit because like his head got detached. So it would have to be a head in a helmet, pretty much. 100 Years Quest is 50% done. The thing with 100 Years Quest is like we're at an area where like we could be halfway, or there could be way more. We haven't even gotten to a point where I think Igni and Selene will actually be defeated. I think it'd be a really big miss if Mishima like he's not gonna kill off Igni, and I really doubt he would kill off Selene here because like it's very clear he likes Selene. He's had a lot of fun with her, and like these two are equal. Like if he just beat her here, it'd be like, well, what's the plan? Like, is she just done? Is this an Igni hype moment? If the fight goes full force, like we see a long all in battle, no interruptions, everything is like them, like head first, like all in, claws, fangs, everything, I guess like that would at least make it better. But like I would hate it to be kind of like if the Acnologi Igni fight ended like when Face was going on Igni land on top of him, because I feel like there's nothing to make that similar scenario for Igni or Selene. So like if anything like that happens, I would assume it's like legit, whereas like Acnologi had stuff to do with obviously like his magic being drained. How much is Lucius playing this? I assume he's been scheming the whole time. I really don't like the idea of him being like Aizen, where he's gonna be like I've been 80-degree chessing you the whole time. I like the the idea that he is manipulating stuff, but he's not going to be one of those characters where it's like, oh, according to my plan, somehow everything you do is always within his plan, and it just feels like it's impossible. I like the idea that he's smart and tactical and does think ahead, but it's not like that like 90D chess master where it's just like, well, what are they going to do if this guy's apparently thought of everything and has a counter to everything, can do anything? I don't want that. I like the idea of, I think, like, if you were going to compare it, like, I like the idea of, like, he is, like, 1.5 to 2 steps ahead. Like, he's planning, and he has ideas, but they're not, like, they go somewhere, he's somehow found, like, the perfect counter or something, when it's like, oh, well, instead, maybe he spent some time, he went and did something, like, imagine this, some form of character, whatever it is. Like, maybe, I'm just trying to, like, spitball, because he's supposed to be, like, making people, right? They want to make, like, humans. Like, say he gets into a point where he wants to make a character, like, who would be fighting? Let me just think of a character, like, Marileona. Okay, let's use Marileona. So it's like, say he used a bunch, like, he had, like, a couple characters to use in a fight. One of them, he's got, like, I'm going to send 5 of them Marileona. And it's like, they have just kind of random assorted powers, kind of like his thing with Raya. Or her fight with Raya early on. But it's like, well, okay, it turns out those were just a distraction. So then Lucius could do whatever to make this other minion, like, a direct counter to Marileona. Like, it's like he has vacuum magic where he just sucks up all the oxygen in the area and Marileona can't use her fire anymore. Something like that, I think, would be really cool, because it would make him clearly smarter. It would put him in control of the situation, and it would really give him a sense of, again, a tactical villain who's not just being goofy and taking too many risks. But it wouldn't get him to that point where it was too much. Some of the stuff with Aizen was starting to get a little too much. There's a problem actually right now for those who've played the new. Well, I guess it's almost over the Shadowlands World of Warcraft expansion. They tried to, for context, if you haven't played, they tried to do like a Thanos thing, but like with almost no build up. So it's just like this guy that showed up just this expansion who was literally only existed in this one part, never really brought up before. He's gonna be done after this for who knows how many years. And it's like they tried to do that same thing where it's like he's like a 5D chess master, and every single time you think you're gonna get him, he's actually like 5 steps ahead of you. That's where I don't want it to get, where it just feels like, well, how are you supposed to beat this guy? If this guy is so smart that he's tricking you every single time, then what's the plan? Like I said, I want an in-between. I like the idea of 1.5 to 2 steps ahead, where he's ahead, but it's not so much that, like, if you have enough manpower, enough strategy, you put in enough effort, all the things like saying like a big war, you got the sides clashing and whatnot, put in, surpass your limits 110%, all those things. I'm fine with that. But if he's like 50D chess master, how would they possibly ever get one up on him? How would Asta ever do it? Like, he's not smart. I mean, Asta's not a smart dude. Because it just would make no sense. Because, like, what would his plan be? Well, like, what would Asta... Like, I can understand, like, actual fight if it's more balanced. But if Lucius is just so broken and so, like, beyond intelligent that they can't really do anything, I don't really see the point. It would just be one of those fights. Again, it's like, well, how are they going to win by plot? Or, like, what's going to happen that nerfs the character or something? Again, I would like to prefer hype and big, but not beyond a point where it's, like, unbelievable. Oh, one sec. There was like a 100 Years Quest teaser, but it's like the same thing. It said it got uploaded like yesterday, and I never got anything of it. I was hoping for something. I just want an animation studio. I mean, it's a part to see the future. I mean, yeah, but Future Sight, like, even when you talk about Future Sight, if a character's not fast enough to deal with whatever's coming at him, or say it's like AoE or whatever, it's, you're not going to be able to do anything. Future Sight is like a really good utility, but it's not absolute. Whereas, like, if you could reverse time, it's completely different, because you would be able to fix that entire scenario. Like, if somebody was about to punch you and you saw it beforehand, there's a much more kind of understandable, like, hit and dodge ratio. Whereas, like, if you reverse time before this dude hits you, how are you getting hit? Like, you could just go hit him before he hits you, before he even thinks about it. Black Clover final chapter 500. Maybe. I think that makes sense. Or like 5. Well, what would be a good 5 number? Because it is 5 leaves. I think Natsu would handle Junko. Oh, I don't know anything about Danganronpa. I don't know anything about that series. No point in Lucifer coming back. He's 100% dead. I don't think he's dead. Lucius Asa's dad. Everybody's Asa's dad. Why do you think he wanted the heart? I guess like some other crazy ritual. Like maybe Lucifer returning will be only at 50% and he'll have to regain. Like, imagine he's at 50, but now he's got to get those percentages up. Every once in a while he gets that extra tick of power back. Maybe it was to weaken him, or maybe now that maybe they have the heart, they can use the heart to fully open the gate, or they can use the heart to do some other bad guy scheme, or maybe the heart is just to give to Astaroth, and Astaroth can like absorb that 50% and become the strongest devil. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of room for that, but it's like, I mean, it's obviously like some nefarious bad guy scheme. The only thing though I would be able to just say for sure is like whatever he's planning with the heart has to obviously have, be some form of other crazy ritual. But like they said that Astaroth got out though, because Megicula was his replacement, so Astaroth is out here. Like when I was first reading the spoilers, I thought it was that Julius, like the guy that we saw that is Lucius, I didn't think that was going to end up being Lucius when we saw that like weird time layer on his body. I thought it'd be more like Julius is contracted to Astaroth, but the reason how he's contracted is a much more negative one, where it's like one of those things where it's like, you make a deal with the devil, but he's actually like, because of the wording, he can fuck you over really fast, like a whole monkey's paw thing. Like maybe like Julius wasn't really, like he didn't really think too much of like the deal, and then because of that, like he's a mind-controlled slave whenever Astaroth wanted him to. but instead he's Lucius. So it makes me wonder, like, well, where's Astaroth at? Is he gonna go see him? Are we going to like get to a point where we can go see like a castle or a cave that he's in? The Astaroth is just somewhere off the continent in a random area, and he's got like his own little zone. Like, he got a castle, or he's got like maybe just some giant. I guess it was really like what giant tree live in. I'm trying to think of some like really cool grand structure. Like, if he's got that, I would automatically put him as like a win. Like, that would be a win by default, just from like he would take us off the continent. It would show that whenever he got out, he left and went and got his stuff set up. Because, like, that would be my thing. If I was a devil, the second I get out of there, especially the Supreme Devils and the big people, I would leave. I'm not risking my shit. I would get out. I would leave. I would go get my stuff established, and then I would kind of do crazy devil stuff. But, like, the first thing I would want to do is make sure that I'm in a spot where I can get all my shit sorted out. Lucy Time Magic user going out. Yeah, that'll be pretty sick. DC EU Superman vs. Acnologia. I'm pretty sure Acnologia beats that one. I don't remember anything like absurd from the movie Superman of that one. Correct me if I'm wrong, obviously, but at least from what I can remember, there isn't anything like really insane. Like, most of the comic book movie feats aren't that wild. Like, I remember like some that are like was it Thor withstanding the heat from a star during Infinity War, whichever one it was. But, like, outside of that, there's usually, like, not outside, usually there's not a ton of feats. Like, Doctor Strange and people, obviously, but, like, I don't remember anything specific for Superman in the movies. But, like I said, if I'm wrong, just correct me. What I don't like about Black Clover is the pacing. One thing I would definitely say is, like, oh, my dogs are running here. Excuse me. One thing I would definitely say is the pacing is pretty fast. Like, it's the same thing I have a problem with Mashle. Like, I feel like everything right now in Black Clover, you could take the same story and literally, like, maybe stretch it like a chunk. Like, what are we at, 330? Like, say you put it up to, like, 400. And then we got to that point. I feel like just, like, it's such a fast climb to Asta being, like, where he's at. It does remind me a lot of, like, Ichigo, though. And I feel like that's kind of just more of what he's going for, because of Black Clover's structure is less like a lot of other shonens. It's more of kind of like how Bleach does it in a lot of ways, where it's, like, just a couple big arcs, because I think that's something that's still not lost but overlooked a lot with, like, the whole elf resurrection, the whole elf part of the story, what I guess people could call it part one. But it's like all these arcs were mini arcs, but they all connected into the elf resurrection arc, similar to kind of like the arcs in the beginning of Fairy Tail going into Sirius Island. It's just the way that it's all integrated. But, like, the difference is with the way that Tabata did it is it's like they looked like their own arcs. They were, but they're not 100%. Excuse me. Why are you guys sprinting when I'm doing stuff? I gotta shut this door. Hang on, these dogs are loud. Alright. Where was my train of thought? What was I saying? Somebody just tell me what I was saying. I 100% lost my train of thought. But I'll just scroll down, and I'm sure I'll see it in a minute. In Innocent Zero versus Julius Speed-Wise, that dude, I think that dude beats Julius. Well, I guess Lucius. At least as of right now, feat-wise, I put my money on Innocent Zero, because he's got time magic and he's got dark magic, and the dark magic in their versus erases stuff. So, like, it's one of those ones where, I mean, if he can counter it, cool. But, like, you get hit by it, you're gonna be taking some. You're gonna be in pain. You're gonna be in agony, pretty much. Watch Tabata make Lucius Asta's dad. I know everyone says everybody is Asta's dad, pretty much. Everybody's gonna end up being Asta's dad. If you plan on recruiting Yami and William for his plan, then Aizen comparison is coming. Here's the thing: I don't mind him planning, but it's like if he was like. If he's like the Zagrid thing, where Zagrid was like planning for 100 years, but I mean Zagrid's also a different kind of creature. But it's like if it's like, oh, we see him and it's 20 years earlier and he somehow knows about all these things that they're gonna come up. I get the idea, obviously, his future sight. I just don't want it to be like, 50 years, where if it's like, he can selectively look into certain events on certain days, and because of that, he's able to kind of do some long setup planning. I'm fine to that. I just don't want it to be like how Aizen was kind of getting at the end, where it's like he did everything and he's been planning everything. It just felt like it got too... It's one of the things that it just gets a little too out of hand. Because then it's like, well, how do you lose? Because that was one of the things that was like always so weird for Aizen, is he was like this master planner, always scheming. But it's like when he got the Hogyoku, he's just like, well, I don't need to be cautious anymore, and that's what fucked him over. It's just like, dude, just illusion people. Win. Don't, like, it feels so much like when you're playing like a Souls game and you get that last like 2 hits and then you want to do something real cocky and then you get killed. Or like any, I guess like any video game like that, you just get a little too cocky and then you want to do something cool and then the boss decides to check you. Julius knows what's going to happen in the future. I get that, but it's like, it depends on the extent, I guess, is the best way to say it. I'm fine with him being some, like, big brain planner. I just don't want it to be at an extent where it just feels impossible for him to lose. Because if he's this broken on top of being this smart and tactical, like, what are they going to do? I was going to say Natsu. I guess Natsu's somewhat of a planner. But, I mean, like, Asta is not that much of a planner. And if he's fighting a guy who's not only more experienced, who's got, like, who knows how he works, how he fights, and how his abilities work, you know, has the ability to heal, do all these crazy things. It's just like, well, how's he going to defeat him? He doesn't have the thing that was there, like, where it had ties into how his power, like, his personality worked and his mind. Kid Austin, you know, working together. I wish we got to see Noelle at least do something for that fight. I would have really liked that. The idea of Hina, I don't know, Mizasu from Higurashi is horrifying. Makes you paranoid to the point of killing your friends. What? Oh, is that from I don't think I've seen that. One Piece fans are getting out of hand. Even rebel characters are getting targeted. One Piece fans are getting out of hand. I'm seeing, like, people say, like, 5th gear can take Naruto and Ichigo and stuff. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, Luffy obviously got stronger. But, like, look at... he doesn't have nearly the size gaps of, like, when you look at other main characters and their big power-ups. Like, for instance, if he was Natsu and he just went into Dragon Force, like, say Natsu hadn't had control over it, he just went into it, Kaido would be done. He'd be dead. Same thing with, like, Ichigo, with, like, you know, when he went into Vastalorde against Solkiora, or I guess more you kind of go with, like, what his Horn of Salvation, or Naruto's Baryon mode. I actually like Luffy's form. I didn't really like it at first when I thought it was yellow, because it just looked like Super Saiyan. I like the white more. Obviously, it makes sense with the smoke and the steam comes off his body. I thought that was much better. But it's like when you compare him to the other big power-ups, like even Asta, like Asta's True Devil Union was a bigger jump. Like he fodderized Lucifaro. Like Luffy got stronger, but like I figured Luffy was going to be able just to kind of steamroll over Kaido, and this is like a chunk up, but clearly he's not there yet. He's like closing in. Because to me it seems more like Luffy just isn't experienced with his new form, and he's just kind of doing stuff that he thinks of on the fly, which obviously makes sense. But at the same time, like if he had more experience with this form, I feel like he'd be doing much better. But I think it's only because of that gap in experience between him and Kaido right now that he's still getting pressed. Obviously, the fight's kind of getting closer to its later parts, but you know what I mean, though. Like that, the gap for 5th gear is not even remotely close. So when you compare it to the big mega forms of like most other MCs, like and even freaking Deku's got some like crazy hype thing coming on the way. I don't think that Deku would come close to the Luffy, but you know what I mean. Those end of series jumps are crazy, and if this is Luffy's end of series power jump and it's not as wild as like anybody else's, One Piece fans are gonna be hearing that. Are you gonna play Higurashi? I don't really mess with visual novels too much. Do you think the Fairy Tail Guild will have to get involved in Hunter's Quest? I don't think so. I mean, I don't really know what like the guild itself is gonna do. Like, we already got most of the important people that are relevant. We really just need kind of like Sting Rogue, Guild Arts, and Jalal, and we've got everybody. If we had those 4, I think we're pretty much good. I don't think we really need any other characters to show up or anybody to really have any kind of like crazy reveal as like I'm here now. Like those are the 4 I feel like pretty much everybody wants. So he's going down the current. I don't think she's going down, because like the way that I view it, if Elentier was like the setup where Celine was just watching, whereas like this is Celine active. We're gonna be seeing Celine in her actual performance now, but not against the main cast members or any of the protagonists. My guess is the next arc is where we're actually gonna get focus on her. That's at least my belief. I think it'll be the next arc that she is defeated. I don't think it's this arc. Just because, like, at least as of right now, I don't think the setting is enough for it, and we don't know nearly as much about Celine. Like, because like even when you look at the last arc, Celine was the big bad, but like Celine wasn't even the end main focus. It ended up being Altaface, and the whole like thing with like her in her fight with Suzaku was like a big plot twist, obviously, and because of that, you know, we were put in a spot that now we actually know, okay, she wasn't even really getting pressed in that fight. That wasn't her big fight. We still haven't gotten to it. Her fight with Ignia obviously is going to be way more intense, but I feel like when you look at that though, it's like, I don't know how like satisfied I'd be like if she lost to Ignia here, like in a full, like if they have like a point where she has to leave, sure, but like if she's beaten and this is like where her story ends, I'd be really upset. Like there's still so much more we haven't gotten to her. Like I want to get to her children. I want to find out like any of their kids alive. Or is she gonna like mention any of the dragon parents? Like I'd be cool just to get some like name drops. I think that'd be cool. Maybe she mentions Animus or something. So I feel like Animus makes sense to kind of like have some form of connection to her as a, you know, dragon type, just because their dragon attributes are somewhat similar between like how Stellanium works. No reason why Ignia wouldn't kill her. I mean, yeah, but I don't think we're getting in a spot where he's gonna kill her. They're equal, and I know like people keep acting like Ignia's gonna run over Celine. I get that Ignia has more of that aggressive nature, but like as far as we know, he is equal. We know that he went out of his way to get some setup so he can try and take them down. Did Elon Musk possibly buying Twitter? I hope so. I hope Elon buys Twitter. Get rid of all the bots. Get rid of all the frickin'... Oh, we're talking about Black Clover pacing. Yeah, I just wish it was stretched out a little bit more. But like I said, I guess it makes a little bit more sense when you kind of think about it more of like from the style. If he, you know, he's not going like a... I'll just use the story, the pacing comparison, not obviously the story itself. But like when you look at, you know, Naruto didn't get to that spot until his fight with Pain, whereas like Ichigo is already like well above most of the verse, even by the end of the Soul Society arc. So it's one of those things. But I'm gonna keep going. We're talking about the pacing. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Ignia versus the Gote 13. I mean, well, they're gonna start dying just from him being there. Like, we know Ignia just nukes countries for fun. And, I don't even... Yamamoto's on this, right? I don't want to go too much into it. Like, we can talk about it. We can look at the whole crazy heat feats of both verses. And Ignia just factually has higher ones, from what we know. He's just absolutely hotter than Wall's plasma. And 200 million is more than 15 million. So, it'd be easier to call them Axe, Act 1 Elves, Spade, Wizard King. Yeah, I guess. Or Sagas or whatever. I usually just say parts. Like when I talk about fairy tales, like everything before the first time skip part 1, and then obviously like between time skips is like a new part, at least in my eyes. I think Lucius will be where do you think Lucius will be? Is he going back to the Spade? I think so. I think logically he would want to go back there. Maybe he'll use the heart to resurrect. Like maybe the heart will be in related to resurrecting the members of his family. Because like people are talking about that. I don't think it would make sense for him not to resurrect Xenon. Because Dante and Vonica both, logically, could be alive. Like, it's a little harder with Dante, considering Jack was there, but we could get to a point where it's like, well, maybe Jack kept cutting him and he was defeated, but he would heal, but he wasn't dead. And he was gonna take him prisoner, but maybe that's... Lucius ends up doing something. Or maybe he is prisoner and we could have, like, Lucius break him out. That would be awesome. Imagine this. Xenon dead, but he revived Xenon. Similar march up to when he went to the Golden Dawn, but they go to free Vonica and Dante. I think that'd be great. That'd be really cool, because that would go to like one of the things I really wanted. I'd love to see Dante like being questioned and held in prison, and just kind of like I want to get general interactions with him. I would love to get some general interactions with him, because the thing about Vonica, like Vonica doesn't have nearly as much of the personality. Like Dante has a lot that I like about him. He's too cocky and too reckless. Like he just does not. I honestly, I just felt like he just wasn't thinking. And to be fair, like I don't think that he would have expected the rune shit to happen. But at the same time, dude, you're in a verse where like pretty much everybody has at least one broken ability. And sometimes those broken abilities are, like, they ignore power levels, but it's like they have to land, they're harder to use, and that's what happened with, you know, obviously with Magna. So, like, I wish so much Dante got better treatment, but it's like at the same time, like, dude got caught. I can't get mad about that. I mean, it made sense he got caught, but he got caught. And some continental planetary feats for Black Clover. I'd love some continental feats, or at least a solid country level feat. One sec. Okay, let's see. You said, you see, I like, wait, you see, I said for a while, you know, become Spade King after Austin goes Wizard King. I mean, I could see it, especially now. I mean, like, because we know now at least, this was actually, I mean, it's pretty good. We know that Yuno wasn't going to just outright leave the Clover Kingdom, but I like that he's like, I won't rule anything off the table, but I have to get this done first. And I think that was cool. I think that that was a nice character moment, because it set it up to be like, yeah, I mean, I understand, but I got shit I got to take care of first, and you know, I got priorities. But when I'm done, Rax says Yami country level or island level. I legitimately would probably put him like island to small country, like small country generously. It's like, I know some people go crazy parallels, but it's like we just don't. There's no feats for it. There's no feats for it, and like we see where people like Lucifaro and them sit, and we know like where, how much of a gap he would be, you know, how much he is rather, to like a singular captain. I think that's something that people forget a lot when like we're comparing like some of the feats for him. Because like Yami is obviously strong, but it's like none of them obviously except for Asta was going to do anything 1v1 to Lucifaro. Like nothing other than the true Devil Union Asta is doing anything. So if we had, you know, obviously Yami gets some feats, but it's while in aid of others. It upgrades him, but it's not like it puts him anywhere remotely close. And then like we know the general areas of some of the Supreme Devils, and where, especially like where Lucifaro should scale. You know, we have some country feats, some like small country to country level feats in the series, and I feel like logically, somebody like Lucifaro, even at 50%, should be much higher. And then like stuff like, I imagine like Lucius is gonna be at that level too, especially like when we had the whole feat from him with Patri, and it's like now I bet he can do it again just fine. He should have the mana for it, or maybe it's like he can do it again, but it's like he would revert to the smaller version, but he'd be able to age back up faster because he'd use Devil Mana or something. Or maybe he could just use Devil Mana and be good. How does Guildarts versus Ignia go? Oh, Ignia kills him. Like, Ignia demolishes him when we're going to Red Rock. I thought that part was cool. The only thing, it's not anything like actually bad. It's like, it sounded so fast. Like, I figured it'd be one of those ones where it's kind of like he draws out saying it, like, Red Hawk, but he says it so fast. And I was like thinking about it, I was like, I guess it really doesn't matter considering it's like it's the opening punch in that fight. It's not Luffy's big climax punch in that fight. Probably Ignition's Dragon. I mean, yeah. Guildarts has no chance whatsoever. 2023 seems like the end of the new gens. There's a lot of stuff, and actually, yeah, Eden's. I mean, it's not Shonen Jump, but Eden Zero is definitely edging further down because we know it's around that. It's a little bit past that halfway mark. I want Sleem to beat Ignia. I'm open for like, I just want to see like a big display from both ends, and then like a draw or something happens. Like maybe whatever Ignia's plan with the labyrinth, and you're just holding about the Age of Dragons starts, and then Sleem and get interrupted, and they have to move. I don't know. I think it'd be really sick if we like had somehow Dogromag revived, and then we see that a bunch of the characters fight him, but like Sleem and Ignia are off doing their own thing. Because that'd be really cool if, like, we saw, like, Ignia come back at some point, and it's like, maybe Dogromag is dead again, and, you know, have to see his friend die. If you've seen me on Twitter, you can tell I don't use it that much. Yeah, I see you sometimes. Is it because they're rushing him due to hate? I don't think they're rushing him. Fairy Tail crossover something outside Heroes... Fairy Tail cross into something outside of Heroes Works. Oh, I mean, that's Black Clover. I would love a Black Clover Fairy Tail crossover. Like, there's so many interactions I would love. Probably my favorite one, I would love to see... Actually, my two favorites. I'd like to see Magna and Elfman, and I'd love to see Laxus and Luck, because I think that would just be a really cool combinations. Like, Luck and Laxus would be so funny. You just have this big jacked buff lightning dude and his small companion who just has all the goddamn energy in the world and just wants to fight people. Or like Elfman and Magnum, they're just loud and they just yell about like being men and stuff. One sec. One sec. Just for heroes. I mean, yeah, he's talking about like outside of Mishima stuff. Bleach character like planetary, no one for. Yes, there is. I mean, we just had Natsu tank Suzaku's attack that took down Selene. Selene's in her human form is casually planetary to large planetary. She was affecting 2 planetary bodies at the same time passively. And then you can compare the moon. You can look at how big the moon is compared to Earth and how big Selene made the moon compared to how big it was before. It's like the size of fucking Saturn. It's huge. Dragon parents don't have much love. Oh, we know that female dragons have like an actual connection. It's just not the same as like a human mother or, you know, other species. There's like a degree of care, but I feel like it's kind of like scorpions and stuff, where they understand the dragon game. They're just like, listen, go out there. You know, you're supposed to be a peak creature of this planet. I'm not going to coddle you forever. Get going. I can see that. But do you think Ignia has been watching Natsu there under your quest? No, we know he has. We know, like, when he was fighting Alderaan, like, him and Selene both were commenting on it, and they weren't like there just hanging out. Igneous is the weird one, because I get Selene, like, she has the portals, but it's like, how did Igneous see them? Did Julie start killing people? Well, it's Lucius now. But yes. Real life, that's not at me. Should I read Rave Master? That was pretty good. Yeah. Here's the thing. Here's how I say it. There's always going to be people that'll be like, well, one's better than the other. Rave Master is the one if you want more of a hero's journey. You want more of a combined set. You understand the plot. You understand the overarching plot, beginning to end. You know where the end goal is, rather. It's not like, like we knew somewhat stuff with Fairy Tail and obviously Igneo and whatnot who Natsu's looking for, but we didn't know obviously like the end game stuff from like the very beginning, whereas like something like Rave Master, from the start. Like I said, it's more of a hero's journey type story. It's way more like, think about like, I was gonna say like, think of it kind of like, I guess the original Star Wars trilogy. Like Luke does remind me a little bit of Haru, or I guess reversed rather. Haru does remind me a bit of Luke, but pre Disney Luke. Ugh. But Fairy Tail's way more of like the characters, and is way more like set on the individuals. There's way more fleshing out of the characters, way more interactions and whatnot. Whereas Eden Zero is way more of the world building. Eden Zero is focused way more on just letting you understand like the zones they're in, and some of the lore there. Whichever one is kind of your type. Then obviously like, do you like magic or do you like sci-fi? And then Rave Masters is just a mashup of whatever powers. Surprised Marileona hasn't died yet. Very curious to know what's gonna happen to Marileona's arm. Like, is she gonna be all right? BC tried to be Fairy Tail. I mean, like, I think there's similarities, but like there's a lot of stuff that they do its own way, and that's one of the things I do like about a lot of battle shonens is they will have aspects and tropes that connect to another one, or like will feel very similar to another one, but they will have their own stuff and their own directions that differentiate them. Like there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of similarities, yet a lot of differences between Eden Zero, Fairy Tail and Black Clover. So, imagine if Ignia blows up the moon. That'd be sick. I'd love to see Ignia like the moon on fire. How are these two people meeting? Gildarts and Marileona. I mean, Gildarts. Here's the thing. If you put Gildarts and Marileona next to each other, they'd probably have sex. It was like Gildarts would hit on her. Marileona would do her thing where she, she's only going to do anything if he's more powerful. Obviously, he's absurdly more powerful, so I feel like she's going to be immediately on board, and Gildart isn't going to turn down someone built like Marileona. Lost to get one more sword? I assume so. 5 swords is what I always envisioned him to have. I guess more now because he's going to have... Like, we got those, like, panels, obviously, like, way back when we first... Like, we're finding out about Licton stuff, where it seemed like he had 3 more swords behind him, making 5 swords. Again, makes sense. And we have 3 now, but obviously then Asta got the slasher. one thing I really would like, and probably one of my more favorite ideas and theories is, and I feel like it's not crazy. I feel like this makes sense. If by the end of the series, Asta got a custom sword best built for him, whatever is like the best style of blade for Asta to use, similar to when Haru got Revolt. Where do I think 100 Years Quest will end? Hold on, 1 second. Probably like 2025, 2026. Imagine if Aiden controls the sun and stuff. That'd be super hype. Pokemon and Sun and Moon. I mean, I guess. Will I ever going back to reviewing Jujutsu Kaisen? I don't know. You gotta reread it like 50 times to understand some of the powers. And I forget a lot of the characters. Not their existences, but some of their names. And I have a slight upset right now with Akutami because the dude keeps like setting up all the characters I like to lose super quick. I like this manga dude, and I like the oh my god, let's see, it's been so long I forgot his name. The lawyer dude, Iguruma or whatever. I just don't want the last sword to overshadow all of us. So the swords, I mean, at that point, it should, though. Like, it should be his end of series sword. I think, like, the best thing for him would be one that it's like he cuts magic, it absorbs it, and it converts it into physical strength. Have I ever read the Tower novels? Nah, I don't read a lot of the, like, Japanese novels. Like, a lot of, like, the light novel books and stuff, I don't really touch. Oh, do I think Marx is bad? I'm very suspicious on Marx. Because I think it makes complete sense if whatever happened to Julius, like, he had his mind manipulated to think that he was obviously Julius and all those fake memories from Marx. And I think that just makes a lot of sense. There was, like, a part early on where he said, like, his memory magic was absolute, and I'm like, that just sounds like something a suspicious person would say. Because, like, if you were the guy that, like, can manipulate the information they're getting, it'd be really easy for you to be a bad guy. Because it'd be like kind of like, yeah, it's like kind of like current day, like controlling the media. It's like you can control what people are gonna think. I mean, Nozel versus Marilyn or Asta, or versus Noelle. Here's the thing, Noelle versus Marilyn would be really cool. It'd be an interesting fight. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Versus Noelle will cause such ripples in the goddamn fandom. Oh my god, like that. That is probably the most controversial fight in the whole series. I don't think there is a fight that would cause more of an uproar than versus Noelle. Because, like, for whatever reason, Noelle stands and stands just have this weird beef with each other, and I don't know why. I don't know, it's like this weird thing to make the other one shine, or what's going on. Where do you think Lucius' base is going to be? I just want it to be out of the continent. I want to be out on the continent. I want to literally see a map and see a little dotted lines that indicate that they're traveling outside of the continent. He said the Age of Dragons beginning. I put up both my theories on it. You can go check. And then also, because Cyrano, you're the one that told me on Twitter, right? Wait, I understand how people think Fairy Tail has bad villains. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I don't really like a lot of antagonists. I mean, not every villain is going to be some freaking, like, sweep out of the park. No one's hyping up Blue Note. But I'm just remembering that dude on Twitter who's, like, saying, like, the worst characters in Tartarus were Natsu and Mard Gear, and I was just so annoyed. Because it's like, I was already annoyed that this dude just slandered Natsu, but, like, I've never heard a single person come out of Tartarus with a negative opinion on Mard Gear. Like, everybody that I've ever talked to that finished Tartarus and enjoyed Mard Gear. Either they really liked him or they thought there should have been more. Regardless of its terrible, horrible nature, and I'm willing to bet it doesn't read 100 Years. As I guess in 2 days we'll go back to that, and we'll talk about it. I mean, I know. Like, I don't know how you look at the fights. I don't know how you look at, like, Luffy's still struggling with Kaido, which, I mean, I guess that's fine. He doesn't have to just topple Kaido. But, like, when you look at his feats compared to Natsu's, it's just like, how do you think that's going to be a fight? How do you think that's going to be a fight? Look at comparing Alderaan and compare Kaido. Like, it's not even remotely close. Like, Natsu just has such better feats. It's horrendous. Like, it's super ridiculous. It's like when they compare, like, to, say, like, you know, 5th year can beat Naruto. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, if you say, like, you know, current, like, the super nerf Naruto missing Kurama, and he's kind of just, like, you know, he's just there now. Sure. I mean, I'd say that if you, like, did, you know, worked your way out of it, of making it more a fight. But, like, I've seen people say, like, 5th year can take Baryon mode Naruto, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's me, the stream glitchy? I don't know. Is it glitchy? Asta has that sword that temporarily absorbs magic properties. But I'd like to be, like, one where it, like, absorbs magic, but instead of, like, something like that, it converts it into a buff. Like, it strengthens his anti-magic, like, coding or whatever, but maybe only in a way that just makes him physically stronger. I think that'd be perfect for Asta as, like, his end of series sword, because it'd be OP, but it'd be, like, just the perfect OP for him. And obviously, if it's further into the series, like, you get way further down the line, no one's gonna really compare too much about, like, stuff being that OP, because, you know, it's like, you know, you're near the edge. Like, let the dude be crazy. After the defeat the Dragon Slayers and gain control over time powers, do you think he would have beaten the Dragon Gods? Yeah, 100%. How long do you think end of series Asta would be? I mean, the problem is we don't have a power level ceiling to go off of. And I'll real quick, as an example, when we were in Marineford, he's One Piece 1, you saw what Whitebeard is capable of. So, like, when we talk about end of series Luffy, you knew he should be, you know, in theory, I feel like it makes sense. Like, even if the main character doesn't end up the strongest in the end, it's a safe assumption to assume they will be. So, like, it's safe to assume, like, okay, by the end of the series, Luffy will be able to do this level of attacks, like, fight these level of people. Where it's like, we don't really know with Asta. We don't know if, like, he's gonna, like, maybe continental, maybe planetary. Maybe it's only gonna be, like, you know, maybe he'll chop the moon in half. I don't know. You prefer Margear over Zera for acting like he's the main antagonist? Oh, no. I think Margear was perfect in his chunk of time he was in. The only thing I think I would have done differently is I would have had Margear live and become one of the Spriggan 12. I would have loved that. I would have loved Margear get stronger, become one of the 12, and, you know, maybe get a little design update, you know, just make him look a little bit more clean. Maybe, like, upgrade his Aetherius form to look a bit cooler. I think that'd be super hype. Acting so stronger than Dragon Gods? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, here's my take. One Dragon God equal to one Acnologia. I mean, obviously there's only one Acnologia. But if you put any of them 1v1, Acnologia is going to win because he has the ability advantage. Like, on top of, like, obviously, like, his ability to eat magic. Like, he is just, like, he's got the experience of murdering these dragons. He's got the stats for it. He's got the mindset for it. And like I said, if he runs out of magic, cool. Ether Nano's everywhere. Absorb it. Just open your mouth and deep inhale. Bam, you got more Ether Nano. You got more magic back. You're good, buddy. Rex, do you think Ignia would react Natsu being a demon? I mean, doesn't he? He should know. Like, why would he not? If Animus knows, I don't really know why Ignia wouldn't. But I mean, also, like, I feel like Ignia would probably be really hyped for it. Like, why would he not want Natsu to be stronger? Sec. Keep getting, like, small, like, random people randomly text me, or, like, I was gonna talk to somebody real quick, but hopefully. Okay. Let's see. What? Oh, I saw an email, but it's like I thought it was a different name. I was really confused for a second. Like, I grabbed my phone because I wanted to look something up, and I somehow completely forgot what it was. I'll get back to it. BC's way more hacks than power. I mean, I understand that, but I mean, like, we're talking about the progression of it. Like, we're talking about, like, where people are going to sit near that end, because it's clear that people are getting stronger, but it's like it's hard to kind of guess that end of series area when you don't have something to base it off of. Like Margear, but he would have felt a little redundant as Spriggan with Bloodman there. I just moved Bloodman. Let me tell you this right now. I don't give a shit about Bloodman. I like his design. I like the fight. But I mean, like, Bloodman had no real lore. He had no real backstory. He kind of just was there. He kind of just existed. Whereas like Marg Gear had an amazing personality. He was fun. He had so many banger lines. His magic, well, I guess his curse power was cool. Obviously, he had Memento Mori. He had one of the cooler fights in the series. Like, there was a lot more to Marg Gear. Way more to Marg Gear. I would be perfectly fine if Bloodman got erased and switched with Marg Gear. 100%. Like, what I would have really preferred, this is what I would have done differently. Take out Bloodman, take out God Serena. Put in Marg Gear and Minerva. Don't put God Serena there. Have God Serena do stuff for the Dragon Slayers. Like, maybe he's going to train them. And that could have been, like, part more of, like, something that we see out here. And it'd be like, well, maybe Natsu doesn't need the training. God Jill probably would. Maybe that's when we would have found out about Laxus's, like, whole stuff in his, his lungs and whatnot. Like, there was a lot more avenues that could have went, like, in my opinion. I'm not too mad at where things were going. Well, actually went. Like, my only thing was, like, God Serena just was really weird. Like, he was a really weird character. But at the same time, like, I think he could have been better utilized. I wasn't too mad because, like, I'm never too mad when a character gets in a spot like that on their own, and then it's just like it's one of those fuck around, find out kind of things. And the same thing with Georg. Like, I liked Georg. I had interest in Georg's character, and I wanted to see more of him. But it's like he got caught. Like, the dude shouldn't have been doing that. He should have been swinging so high. Like, why are you trying to just go at a character way more powerful than you? Like, Gary is really lucky that she didn't have any personal beef with her, or she just would have squashed her. Would have killed Marg Gear, I'd killed Bloodman and Green's abilities. I just would have been fine if we never saw Bloodman. Like, we could have had, like, kind of, like, think of, like, when Grimjow went and attacked Loopy. We could have a part, wait, hang on a second, I gotta go tell this dog to stop harassing my cats. Anyway, my dog is, well, it's my girlfriend's small dog. She really wants to be friends with my cats, but she hasn't figured out that she harasses the cats enough. She's getting the shit smacked out of her. These cats are, at least one of my cats already got her, but she hasn't learned yet. Like, I don't know how she doesn't see these angry small fur things with tons of sharp claws and realize she probably shouldn't fuck around too much with them. Grazian is a poster child for wasted potential. I don't think it's more of like wasted potential because we didn't have really anything to go off of. Like, Ivan is way more wasted potential because we actually understood where he fit into the plot and where it made sense for him to be and where for his character to go. God Serena was in that spot where we didn't really get to the go point. It's a... Okay. Girlfriend is looking for a phone charger. I don't know what the freaking phone charger is. But, my name is not Bartholomew. That's a fancy name, though. What's the name of the favorite Rax cat? Well, I don't have any favorites of my cats, but I have Tartaros, Gandora, Athena, and Karazhan. Yeah, Tartaros is one. Tartaros is the most known on my Twitter ventures, just because he's so photogenic. He's very known. Like, he's got that face. He's almost made friends with my dog. He's getting there. But yeah, the thing about with God Serena is, like, I felt he should have had something. I understand. I felt he should have had some form of more important plot stuff, or at least backstory thing. Like, it was just really weird, because he got right up to that point where you think you're about to start finding out about this character, you're about to kind of, like, get into backstory and get information, and then Lucius shows up, and it's like, well, fuck. So it's one of the things, like, I can't get too mad when it's like, yeah, he got in that situation. He shouldn't have done that. Ivan absolutely is wasted potential. Like, I would love to ask Mishima. Like, if I had one question, I think I would want to ask him about Ivan, because like Ivan feels like a character that logically you wouldn't have, you wouldn't have just thrown him away. But Mishima just kind of said fuck it and didn't want him anymore, and we haven't seen Ivan since the Grand Magic Games. And he got like low diff by Laxus. It's like, dude, how? Like, there were a lot of people that theorized he would be in Alvarez, and he'd be one of the 12 somehow. I think that would have been really cool. Like, it would depend on how it's done. I really like the idea of maybe he went for every avenue of getting stronger, where it's like, Hell's Core, maybe we see a bunch of magic items and drugs and stuff and tools and stuff from like spin-offs that we know about, and maybe like he's got curses and machines, just kind of like a dude who's only where he's at because like he's just so hungry for power and so hungry for, like, he's willing to kind of like throw away his humanity to kind of get this stuff. What happened to the cat that appeared outside your house? He didn't come back. I'm pretty sure that cat showed up because one of my cats was in heat. Is either that or he just wanted food. I haven't seen him since. I don't even know. I was reading something else. I was reading a freaking DM. Let's see. Yeah, I think for the most part it looks like we're good. I know I'm gonna be a little triggered. Not triggered. Not immediately. Once I start hearing that one dude mention, like, he's gonna start saying points against Natsu, because I feel like he's like, just looking at his channel. I'm just gonna say it. I feel like he doesn't read Fairy Tail. I feel like he doesn't know too much about it, and given the fact he's got a bunch of One Piece content, I'm pretty sure he's gonna say Luffy wins, without even looking at feats. And I'm gonna set up feats beforehand, because I'm very confident that he will mention Luffy feats, and he'll know Luffy feats. But I'm willing to bet he's not gonna have any knowledge on on Natsu feats. He'll probably say things like, "Oh, well, Natsu has fire, but Luffy has feats against heat," and it's like, are you gonna compare the heat that Luffy has gone up against versus like Natsu's heat feats? Like, Luffy was getting burned by lava, and like lava is nothing for Natsu. Like, lava's what is it, like 2600 degrees or some shit? And like even early Natsu is like melting steel from his body heat. Will I feed Sheldon my cats? No. If I ever got Sheldon from Quan, I want to hang out with Sheldon. We'd be friends. We'd chill. Maybe like put Sheldon in a fish tank, hang with my fish. Turtles don't eat fish, do they? I don't think so. They eat like bugs and algae and shit. I guess I don't really, and vegetables and fruits. I don't really know too much about turtle diet, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that when we get to that video, I know it's gonna be like, I know this guy already. I know his tactics. I'm hoping like if he proves me wrong, I'd be fine with it. Is he a big Luffy fan? See, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really want to give him the benefit of the doubt. But like his first video, and then clearly he is a One Piece stan, and he didn't even know Celine's name. How are you trying to argue feats for like a thing you don't even read? That's why I try really hard not to mess with series like I don't know. Like when somebody asks me, when it's like they'll do Urza versus Sage. Well, I only have like a couple fish. I mostly have betta fish. I got a couple fish. I have this big ass fish tank. I have this like 90-gallon fish tank in my garage. It's pretty much empty. I'm not filling it up right now. I was thinking about it. I might wait until next year. Is that like what would that would just make the Xenon flashback super strange. Thoughts on Quan Credible Twitter pic? Did Quan change his Twitter picture? Or is that just his normal Quan picture that he's had? 'Cause I'm pretty sure Quan's just had the same one for a while. I'm fine with Quan's profile picture. I don't know. It's nice. I don't know who did it, though. I remember he showed me the profile once. I just do my own. I don't know. I thought about it, but it's like, I'd rather just kind of, like, I'm already doing fine. One sec. There's like a post that was saying like the episodes in the anime made fuck, I'm trying to names. It's like Kinemon and Momonosuke are like S tier. I'm like, Kinemon's cool, but like I definitely put him S tier. Momonosuke is not an S. He's like a C tier character. Like he is not interesting and he's annoying. I really don't like him. Like I don't hate him because obviously he's like a kid, but it's like holy shit, dude. You've been in this series for how long, and all he's done is kind of stand there, and then it's like he got aged into a dragon who then is like he's just flying around the island, like getting ready to make the clouds, and he's not gonna be able to do it until last second because next chapter, Luffy believing in him, he will be able to do it. I don't know. I guess I'm not mad about that one. It's just like I don't know. It feels like his character only exists for this moment and the aftermath of Wano. And that's more of like where I'm kind of on him. It just makes him feel kind of lame. I would have preferred if it's like, I don't know, maybe he aged up earlier and then started doing something. Like maybe at the start of the war, because he looks like Odin, it'd be something that kind of captures the hearts of the people, and they're able to find out who he is, and they want to put their faith in him and all those things. But like other than that, like he's been kind of ass. Like Yamato's in the same way to me, but obviously this dude's been around way longer. It just feels like let me say it. Momonosuke feels like a character obviously is supposed to be in the story, but it feels like he's just been so absurdly underutilized. I feel like Oda should just not made him so young. Like maybe made him like, I don't know, 14, 15 or something where he could fight and then not be like a background character who just gets beat up and captured. Like Yamato just feels like he is invented like randomly. He doesn't need to show moms because Odin doesn't show moms, but it's like this character just exists to have Odin too with some horns and some big titties. Why did you ask me about Quan's picture again? I already said Quan's picture's fine. I don't have an issue with Quan's picture. Julius versus Yuhabach. I'd say Yuhabach. Like altering the future is just an OP ability. Like you have to. Like, with the way he works, unless you're just outright absurdly more powerful, or you have a way to counteract his abilities, like you're gonna have a terrible time fighting Yuhabak. That could be one of those ones that's like, if Marred Gear like somehow landed Memento Mori, sure, but it's like outside of like those kind of conversations for like weaker characters, it just feels like you're gonna have a horrible time fighting him. You would have to have something that completely makes it so he can't almighty himself back to life by, manipulating the future. He's the future Shiki theory. I've liked that idea, but like I kind of wish that there's like, I kind of want it to be like maybe there's a guy from the future that Shiki will meet later, and it's like Shiki fought him at the end, but then like after that fight is when Shiki first meets him. Like imagine this: Ziggy is from 200 years in the future. But after this arc, Shiki meets the guy who's about to start, like who's about to invent him. Like literally, like when you find Anakin and he's got the C-3PO at like his most bare form, where it's like you're just getting to this area or something. I meant the funny pic. What funny pic? Did Quan change his picture? I thought it was the same one. I don't know. What else? Looks like everything. I'm actually caught up with the chat today. I'm not slacking. I know this is a more quiet day. We've got a handful of people here, but at the same time, I didn't fall behind. I did not fall behind this week. Maybe next time when I get more of like more stuff to rant. My Hero and Black Clover final arc, Mashle training before the final arc. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff near that edge. There's a lot of series near that ending area in Shonen Jump, and that's why I'm like, they can't act stuff. Like they have, like I feel like they need to leave Ayashimon and Doron alone and just let them accumulate. So I feel like that's kind of what happened also with not to the same degree, but kind of like Mission Yozakura Family. I never really hear people talk about it, but it's like it's starting to gain a little bit more of that momentum since, you know, it broke 100. There might be talks of an anime, and on top of that, there's the fact that, like, you know, with Shonen Jump getting slowly smaller and all these series ending, people are looking for other series to touch. I think Connor's the most mysterious character. Oh, I agree. I 100% agree with you. He's like wound up in time with how Cat Leaper affects him. I agree. I think Connor is the most interesting plotline in the series, just because, like, he's so odd. His character is just so oddly out of place a lot of the time, it feels. Oh, the one in the Discord server? I mean, I'll look. Oh, yeah, real quick, let me post a link if you want to join my Discord. I don't remember if I posted earlier, but I guess I might as well post it again. You posted Quan's picture in Discord? I'm so confused. Isn't that just this old Quan picture? Oh, you mean that Goofy when you posted that? I didn't see Quan. I just kept thinking of young Kaido, because there's that part where he's holding Momonosuke over like the edge of the building, and he's wearing like skinny jeans, but he has like his normal body, like upper body. He just looks less buff, but his legs are really long and stick-like, and like that in like super tight pants. It just reminded me of the exact same look. I thought that was just pretty funny. I am gonna be losing much of interest by the time Arrow and Black Clover finally end. I mean, as long as there's new stuff coming up, it's not Shonen Jump, but that one new Shonen Magazine series, Gachiakuda or whatever. That one's pretty cool. I still need to. I wanted to start doing like reviews on that and the Don or whatever, and then Gata Nightmares, because I'm gonna get back on like Eden Zero and other stuff too. I meant to recently, but like the days stacked up on me, and I was like, well, I'm already like 2 days away from the next chapter, so fuck it, I'll just wait. Chain Man Part 2 prediction. I always want to see some more Primal Devils. I really want to see some more Devils from like Primordial Fears. Do you think Natsu has his own Aetherius form? I mean, we've pretty much seen it to a degree. That, like, the weird kind of like layering that goes over his hands and stuff. But yeah, that's about it, I think, for this stream. This was just a nice little short stream, and just one that wasn't too crazy. Just a short, fun one. There is no chapter on Tuesday. I'm gonna try and put out some stuff before then. Some more stuff. Obviously, I'm gonna do my Black Clover and my Doron video. I'll probably record them today and post them tomorrow, and then start aiming. There's that, like, I'm working on the first video on my dragons, like on the stuff on dragons and dragon slayers. I'm trying to work on the first one right now. I've got a little bit planned out. I want to try and pick a couple soundtracks right now, that aren't going to get me copyright strikes, and then kind of like fit them in, and then plan from there. Hopefully I'm going to try and aim for like a half hour, 30-something minute video of like actual, like, looking over it, because I want to mess with my sound a little bit, because I was like listening back to some. It sounds all right, but I want to kind of just tweak it a little bit more, maybe try and get a little bit more polished. And then I'm hoping this next, like, again, whenever I put this one out, I'm hoping it'll just be a nice little bump up in quality. I'm not gonna say like I'm doing some movie quality thing, but I'm hoping that maybe when I'm doing it, I can edit it so my speech way less interrupted. I say things like and give myself that quick little word filler in to regather my thoughts a little bit more, kind of like continuous. Relating related to Arthur? I assume so. But anyway, yeah, other than that though, comment below, thumbs up the video, prefer the like button, subscribe button.